Welcome back. So today we are looking at obesity among the non-communicable diseases that we have been talking about. Obesity is one of the most prevalent non-communicable diseases. Okay, so it is very common. It's a common condition that is worth talking about. So by definition, obesity is a complex chronic disease characterized by an excessive accumulation of body fat that can impair health. Okay. It is a complex chronic disease characterized by an excessive accumulation of body fat that can impair health. It is typically measured using BMI, known as body mass index, where the BMI of 30 or higher indicates obesity, or the BMI of 25 and 25 to 29.9 indicates overweight. It is increasingly recognized as a multifactorial condition influenced by various factors, which include genetics, environmental, and lifestyle choices. So it is very common, and it results in an imbalance between daily food intake and expenditure. So when you are eating, you eat more than you are expending, that would lead to fat accumulation, which would finally lead to obesity. Therefore, it is important that the amount of energy and the amount of energy corresponds to the amount of that you put in, that you intake, the amount of food intake that you do eat uh, is actually equivalent to the amount of activity that you are taking. This is why we are discouraged from eating late in the night, such that eating heavy meals late in the night, such that you just eat and sleep. Where is that energy going to go? So we are advised to eat lighter meals during night, because we do not need enough energy. So you eat a lot of food at night and sleep, it doesn't go anywhere. But if you eat a lot of food in the morning and be active, that food will be utilized. So that imbalance of the amount of food and the food intake versus expenditure is what will lead to obesity at the end of the day. It is caused by multiple factors such as genetics. It has been noted that it has been running in families. Okay, you would find in such a family where there is obesity in one, because it has been noted to be running in families where it has been found that if a parent is obese in one group, children would be also obese, and that goes also with the levels of appetite. Controlling appetite, there are some genes that control appetite, and that imbalance continues such that even in the children, they will find it difficult to control their appetite at that level. Then the food intake will be more, and it goes, it will run in families like that. And that is what that leads to genetic predisposition of obesity. Or it can be cultural amongst the factors. It can be cultural. There is one culture where they believe that when a man marries, the woman and the family of the woman have to make sure that within a year or two of marriage, this man they will make sure that this man is fed. So this man will be fed to the extent where at the end of the day, this culture demands that they will go for a public show to show how they have fed this man who was married from their family. So those cultural practices would lead to obesity, and at the end of the day, they may, it leads to, it actually a bad cultural practice or societal. Okay, you may be living in a society that promotes bad healthy habits. Okay, and those influences, society influences, can also influence an individual towards developing certain conditions such as obesity. For instance, you are living in a society where they promote eating junk foods. Okay, you are living in a society where they promote eating junk foods, and you find that it is actually, you become actually the laughing stock if you embrace uh, the other type of foodstuffs. The only foodstuffs they acknowledge are the junk foods, fast foods, and all those. At the end of the day, you are influenced to the extent where you also start embracing those type of foodstuffs, where activity is actually not appreciated. When you are active, you are doing exercises, the society does not seem to support, or the way they look at you. At the end of the day, you are influenced to the extent where you join them and you can get to develop obesity. You find that the amount of food intake you are taking is not equal to the expenditure, to the activity that you are putting them, that energy to. Reduced physical activity as well as insomnia. So insomnia, studies have shown that insomnia causes the raising, okay? It causes an imbalance in hormones. It causes an imbalance in hormones where it will actually end up giving this individual a lot of appetite. So that has been proven by studies that have been done, and that contributes to the development of obesity, where this person who has insomnia just ends up eating a lot. At the end of the day, they have bad eating habits and they develop obesity. Food habits, which is what we have already highlighted, and endocrine disorders, we know energy metabolism is uh, is guided or controlled by the endocrine system. So an imbalance on the endocrine system or hormones that have to do with this energy metabolism, such as an insulin overproduction, which we know that insulin is the one that gets active sugar from blood and stores it for future use. If it is produced in higher levels, it will encourage the storage of fats, and that will lead to development of obesity. Some medications, food advertisements can entice this trend. Okay, can entice one to developing bad eating habits as well as poor energy metabolism. So those are some of the factors that lead to obesity. Instances of obesity. The prevalence of obesity has risen dramatically over the past few decades. In Australia, approximately two-thirds of adults and 1 in 4 children are classified as overweight or obese. Globally, the rates of obesity have more than doubled since 1980, okay, with significant increases noted in both adults and children. In 2022, about 16% of adults and 8% of children aged 5 to 19 were living with obesity worldwide. Okay. So obesity is associated with numerous health complications, which include cardiovascular complications, type 2 diabetes, musculoskeletal disorders, certain cancers, as well as mental health issues. So when we look at all these non-communicable diseases, heavy non-communicable diseases which it comes with. So we have already described obesity as a condition. So it complicates into, or it is associated with some of any of these disorders that we have itemized here. So that gives a very big and sad picture when one has obesity and develops this. And this, if you have a community that has more people with this, and looking at these conditions, control of these conditions and treatment is not easy to come by. So treating this, it's very expensive, which is a very big drain on national coffers. Okay, it is expensive, and that is why it is a public health concern, because the monies that can be going towards treating these patients can work in some other social sectors that can bring about development. So it is a burden on the financial sector, as well as the the overall uh, society, because these people that will be suffering from these conditions will be the same people that we are expecting to be productive in society. So by letting these conditions continue like this, we are going to have it is actually a drain also, or it is a burden on the economy, because this is an active workforce which we shall be spending money on, and they will be very unproductive. So if it means at a workplace you have people with these disorders, half of the people with these disorders, it means the work discharge would be affected, which gives an overall public health, calling for overall public health intervention so that it is controlled. Okay. Diet plays a bigger role in the management of obesity, typically involving modification, caloric control. Consuming fewer calories than expended is fundamental. A period through controlled diet manage weight. Balanced diet is important, which you take all foods are encouraged, such as fruits, vegetables, whole grain, as well as lean protein, while processed foods and high sugars and fats are discouraged. Portion control, monitor the portion and sizes. That one is eating. Okay, don't eat according to what you have found. Eat according to the portion that you have apportioned yourself. If you have told yourself to be taking 2 lamps, restrict yourself to those 2 lamps. Okay, and like because today there is 8 lamps, you can take 5. If there is 7, you take just like that. That should be controlled. You should not be eating according to what you find. Eat according to what you have prescribed for yourself and what is prescribed as healthy for yourself. Regular meal patterns, encouraging regular meal times to prevent excessive snacking and binge eating. Eat at regular times. For instance, the usual times that we have for eating are 3 times: breakfast, lunch, and supper. Those times should be observed, and whatever foodstuffs that you you have gotten across to during the day, let's say 10 hours or the other in between, keep them for the main meal. When time for the main meal comes, let's say at 12 or 13, eat as much as you can. Eat all those foodstuffs that you could have eaten in between. Eat your fruits, eat everything within that time, and start drinking water in between until another meal time comes, so that you embrace the pattern of eating using during regular meal times. This will help to prevent the development of this condition. Lifestyle changes are crucial in controlling obesity. Amongst them, physical activity is essential. Okay, regular exercises is essential in burning calories and improving overall health. The recommendation is that one should be active or should exercise at least 120 minutes in a week, where they should involve in moderate exercises. So this 120 minutes in a week can be divided in whichever way. Okay, it can be divided in whichever way, as long as after a week or within a period of a week, you have used 150 minutes. Like you can be doing 30 minutes per day. You can also be doing 30 minutes per day in 5 days. You can also be doing at least 50 minutes per day in 3 days, or just like that. Okay, but at least in a week, you should have used a minimum of 120 minutes of active activity, of moderate intensity activity. So moderate intensity activity are those type of exercises or activities, those which you will be doing and allowing you to actually speak. You can talk to somebody, you can communicate wirelessly, you are doing the activities. Those are moderate intensity activity, well timed to achieve the goal of 150 minutes per week. Behavioral changes, strategies such as self-monitoring, setting realistic goals, and seeking social support can aid in weight management. So all this, you monitor yourself, you monitor what you are eating, you monitor your activity, you set realistic goals, you set the realistic goals such as maybe going into the gym, or you set the times that you are supposed to exercise, all these goals, and developing a social network where maybe you call your neighbor, your friend to say at 17 hours, 17:30, we knock off 17, when we knock off at 17 hours, 17:30, we go for a road line. Such kind of behaviors and social networks can improve this picture, and can prevent the development of obesity. Sleep and stress management. Adequate sleep and stress reduction techniques can influence weight control, as poor sleep and high stress are linked to weight gain. Social factors. Social determinants significantly impact on obesity, such as the socio-economic status. Those in the lower income bracket have limited access to healthy foods and safe spaces for physical activity, contributing to higher obesity, meaning they eat anything they find, whether healthy or not, they will eat, and they have no access to these spaces where they which promote activity. For instance, in our compounds, you hardly find a ground, you hardly find a play park. There is nothing like that. All the play parks which were there, all the grounds which were there, have been built on as plots. So if somebody wants to even take a jog around the compound, there is no space because all the roads are overcrowded. One does not manage to do that. So socio-economic status also would contribute to such kind of things. So meaning when these people eat, will just eat, and the amount of expenditure of the energy that they have eaten, the food that they have eaten will not be equal to the intake, which would predispose them to developing obesity. Cultural influences, which we have already talked about. Some cultures have bad eating habits, and they'll end up predisposing people to such kind of conditions. Environmental factors, urban design, availability of recreational areas, and food deserts can influence lifestyle choices or related to diet and exercise. For instance, what we have seen at the development of OIDC, okay? The fact that OIDC is there, we have seen a lot of people from around the community participating in sport. So this urban development, if almost all of the areas have these settings, they have recreational facilities, they have grounds, people would be forced to actually use them. People will be enticed, will be influenced by their friends, their neighbors. So societal influence would come up and would find that initiatives to utilize those facilities would arise from the society, and people will find themselves embracing healthy habits. Obesity is a multifaceted public health issue and significant implications for individual and with significant implications for individual and community health. Addressing it requires a comprehensive approach that includes dietary changes, increased physical activity, and consideration of social determinants, as we have already highlighted. Effective interventions can lead to substantial improvement of health outcomes, reducing the risk of associated diseases and enhancing quality of life. Okay. So public health officers and environmental health officers play roles in controlling obesity through various strategies that address both individuals, okay, individual behaviors and environmental factors. The role of public health officers in the development of policy and advocacy. Public health officers are involved in creating and advocating for policies that promote healthy eating and physical activity. They work to establish supportive environments that facilitate healthier lifestyle choices, such as regulation on food marketing and access to recreational facilities. They also have a role in community education outreach, where they conduct educational programs to raise awareness about obesity, its risk factors, and the importance of maintaining healthy weight. This includes workshops, seminars, campaigns targeting various demographics, but particularly vulnerable populations would need this education and this knowledge that would endanger them. Okay. Public health officers also collect and analyze data on obesity rates and related health outcomes. This information is crucial for identifying trends in evaluating the effectiveness of interventions and guiding future public health initiatives. Collaboration with the stakeholders is also one of the things that public health officers should undertake. They collaborate with various stakeholders, including schools, healthcare providers, and community organizations to implement comprehensive obesity prevention programs. And this intersectoral approach ensures that multiple facets of this issue is addressed. Also, implementation of health programs, design and implement community health programs focused on nutrition and physical activities such as weight management programs, school health initiatives, and community fitness events. Those are supposed to be spearheaded by public health officers. On the other hand, environmental health officers assess environmental factors that contribute to obesity, such as the availability of healthy food options and safe spaces for physical activity. They identify barriers to healthy living, such as food deserts, as well as unsafe neighborhoods. Regulatory compliance and enforcement. The public health officers enforce regulations related to food safety, environmental health, ensuring that food establishments adhere to healthy standards. This includes monitoring the nutritional quality of food served in schools as well as public facilities. Environmental health officers also advocate for urban planning and community design that promote physical activity, such as parks, walking trails, as well as bike lanes. They also work to create environments that encourage active lifestyle. Community engagement and education. Environmental health officers engage with communities to educate them about the importance of health, environment, and preventing obesity. Should also provide resources and support for community-led initiatives aimed at improving local health. They should also collaborate with public health officers, in which environmental health officers, alongside public health officers, are supposed to integrate environmental health considerations into public health strategies aimed at obesity prevention. This collaboration ensures a holistic approach to addressing the issue of obesity. Above all, the combined efforts of public health and environmental health officers are essential in controlling obesity. Therefore, there has to be a multifaceted approach in combating this condition. By addressing both individual behaviors and environmental factors, they work to create healthier communities and promote sustainable lifestyle changes. Their collaboration enhances the effectiveness of obesity prevention strategies and ultimately leads to improved public health outcomes, which is going to give a healthy nation, which is actually that of public good, and that will actually improve on the productivity of the nation, which is actually improves all sectors of our economy. And this is how we come in as public health specialists as well as environmental health officers. Thank you so much for your attention.